All right. Hey, welcome back. Here we go today. Today's going to be a fun one. I haven't done this topic ever on the show, so I'm really excited about it. It's something that I use in my own life quite regularly, at least at this point in my life, now 37 years on the planet. It's the way that I make a lot of my bigger decisions through this form than probably anything else. I used to be very I guess analytical in a lot of ways, and everything had to make sense and how it might fit my plan. Whereas now I live my life a lot more intuitively and I enjoy that a lot more. And it tends to work out in my favor a lot more too. So today we're going to be talking about tapping into universal guidance. And you can call that whatever you want. If it's not universal guidance for you, if it's spiritual guidance or subconscious guidance, I mean, that's up to you. I call it universal guidance. And I think that today the subject is probably more important than ever before. And the reason why I say that is we live in an era right now where you are drowning in information. Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, I mean, especially because of our cell phones and computers, there's so much stuff coming at us that we very rarely take time to stop and think. And even more rare is the person that takes time to not only stop and think, but listen for that inner guidance and universal guidance. And what I found in my own life is that when I tried to do things always my way and I tried to force and control outcomes, I achieved some goals, yeah, but I never really had a lot of, lasting fulfillment or happiness in my life. And honestly, it was a lot of a grind to get where I wanted to go. But every time I follow some of the processes we're going to talk about, and I began to tap into universal guidance and inner guidance, life began to flow so much more easily. I was able to create results and am able to create results with significantly less effort than having to try and do it all just purely with my own work ethic and effort. So, if that sounds like something you're interested in, I think you're really going to love today. If that doesn't sound like something you're interested in, you just want to work super hard the rest of your life, take no days off, everything, don't worry, just stop this episode. This probably one isn't for you, but odds are this one's probably for you. Let me ask you a question. If you could begin to create better results in your life with less effort and you had more time to be with yourself, to be with the ones that you love, to do the things that you love to do, wouldn't that be a great thing? And I think that in a lot of ways, that's all what a lot of us are after. So many of us are seeking financial independence and financial freedom where you have enough money to not have to work so you can do all the things that you want to do. Well, you may not have all that money saved yet, but what I want to, I guess, share with you is that you don't need to wait until you have the money to begin living more of the life that you want to live. You can begin to live more of that now. And it's an illusion to think that one day I'm going to get to it. The land of tomorrow I've talked about in previous episodes, but it's a dangerous place to live, the land of tomorrow. Because tomorrow, from a human perspective, is never guaranteed. What we do know, I am here today. I'm alive today. I've got some time left before me for now. And tomorrow is a gift, if and when it comes, right? So let's make the most of it. And let's use this guidance so that we can begin to live a life of love, of flow, of ease, of fun, of inspiration, of joy, way more often. If that sounds good, let's jump in. So the first tip I want to give you, I'm going to share with you 5 different ways that you can tap into universal guidance. And the first way is one I talk about a lot on here. I've even created a free mini course that you can access to tune into this in terms of meditation. And meditation, even if I put that word aside, I'm just going to use the phrase to sit quietly, to go within. One of the easiest ways to tap into universal guidance, part of me, is to get quiet in a world where we are so busy. We're busy in our jobs, we're busy in our businesses, we're busy with our partners, we're busy with our kids, we're busy with, social media, we're busy with our email, our text messages, and all this stuff. We got our Netflixes that we want to watch, and we got all this stuff that we are so busy that one of the easiest things to do, yet at the same time, we seem to not make a lot of time for it, is to just sit quietly. Not with music, not checking your phone, not talking to your wife, your husband, your partner. not being with you, just being with you. But yet, when we do this, this is where some of your greatest insights, ideas, breakthroughs, perhaps even next steps towards your vision will begin to come to you. So you can do this in a couple ways. Number one, you can just go sit quietly. Maybe if you've never done this, you might start with a timer for 5 minutes. If you've done it before, you might do 15 minutes or 20 or 30 or an hour, who knows? I mean, that's up to you. But sometimes just sitting in the silence. And when a thought comes in, you just kind of let it pass gently. Don't give it any attention. If you're new to this, right, as many people say, I can't meditate, I can't sit quietly, my brain's too active. If you're new to it, that's everybody. It takes practice, right? It's just most people don't know how to hit the golf ball really well the first time they try either. It takes practice. But to sit quietly. And so you can just sit, and then sometimes answers will come to you right then and there. But you can also sit with an intention. And this is where we begin. Perhaps before you even sit down, you get out your journal and you write down a question that you're seeking some guidance on, a question that you're seeking some answer on, or perhaps showing a solution for something, or maybe showing me the next step in terms of what to take. You might just write down that intention, or at the very least, just think that intention. Writing is quite powerful. And you begin to do that and then go into this silence. And you'll be amazed, how this can start to happen for you. I'm going to share with you some stories along the way that I've used this in my own life. So I'll share a quick story. I was doing a workshop for a company. Once in a while, I do some corporate workshops, and they had flown me up to their city, and so I was up there, stayed the night, and everything. And I did the workshop, and I think it was about a 7-hour workshop. And I don't know, there might have been 50 people there, 60 people, and it was a great workshop, and it was well received and everything. And I did it, and I was flying home that night. So I flew in the day before, and then I was flying home the next day. And, I was reading a book at the time on speaking, the business of speaking. And then as I was flying, I put the book down and I thought to myself, I want a better way to explain what I'm explaining. I want to have a better analogy than what I've been using. I found that presentation, I thought I was maybe a little too factual. I wanted to have more analogies as well. And so I just kind of thought that thought, and nothing came to me. But the next morning, I went down for my meditation. And I was sitting in my chair, which is, sits across from me from where I record here. And I went into a meditation, 20 minutes, I think it was. And I didn't even ask the question, but I had asked it yesterday. And near the end of the meditation, all of a sudden it came to me, the architect and the master builder. And if you've ever been to one of our seminars, you've heard me talk about that. If you haven't, I'm sure you'll hear one day. That concept came to me, though, from asking for the guidance. I didn't do it in my meditation. I asked the day previously, just in my head. But then it came to me the next morning. So this is one way that you can begin to tap into universal guidance. Another way you can begin to tap into universal guidance, and this is a wonderful one, is right before you're drifting off to sleep. That last 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes is begin to talk to your unconscious mind or the universe or God, however you want to call it. So you might talk to your subconscious. Sometimes I'll do that. And the reason why I can say subconscious, your subconscious mind is the universal part of your personality. It's the part of you that's connected to the infinite, to everything. So you might talk to your subconscious mind. Hey, subconscious mind, help me with this. Give me an answer to this. Show me how I can do this. Tell me what my next step is. And then you go to sleep. And if those are your last thoughts drifting off, your subconscious mind is going to be working on that and providing those answers that often when you do this, you might wake up in the middle of the night. So I recommend keeping a notebook on your nightstand. I always keep one there in case this happens when it does, so I can write it down. Because if I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't write it down, I might be gone by the time I fall back asleep or get back up, pardon me. So, you can do that. Sometimes it's right when you wake up. Sometimes you'll ask before you're drifting off and you might not get an answer, but then all of a sudden you're in the shower and then boom, there it is. This becomes another way for us to tap into universal guidance. One of my favorite forms, the third way you can tap into universal guidance, is through free writing. And free writing is really simply, you ask a question in your journal, ask the question, how could I begin to do this? And then you just begin writing and just allow yourself to write. Don't judge it. You just allow whatever comes to write. And it's an incredible process to use to tap into universal guidance. Some of the best answers I've ever received have come from that process of free writing. Another way, our fourth way that I'll give you that you can tap into this universal guidance is, often we'll have to-do lists. We'll have things we want to do. We've got many things that we could do with our day, especially if you're an entrepreneur, many, many things that you probably could do. And so I like to make a list sometimes. I learned this from a great author, Richard Dotts, where I'll make a list of all the things that I could do or think that maybe I should do. And then I'll ask myself, which one feels the best right now? And again, this is more an intuitive process. What I'm sharing with you, though, is that everything we're talking about is a more intuitive process. It's not so much planning for it. It's not trying to control it. It's not using that left part of your brain, the super analytical part, but instead tuning into higher guidance, into higher wisdom. So by the feeling of what feels best, I will allow that to determine what I do. Yesterday, I had a full morning, and then my afternoon was quite open. One of the things that I value a lot in my life is freedom. And so I have, built a business and businesses that allow a lot of freedom in my schedule. So yesterday I had a pretty free afternoon. So I decided to go to a coffee shop, a local one that I love. And then I made a list. I made a list of, I don't know, there's probably 8 or 9 things that I could work on or could do. And I had the thought initially of I should work on this, but it wasn't the feeling, it was the thought. And so I wrote down all these things. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. I started working on it, realized this is not what I want to do right now. And then I realized exactly what I wanted to do by the feeling and started working on that project and got a whole bunch of wonderful work done in the hour and a half that I was there before I went to pick up my kids. So this is a great one that I find works incredibly well. I'm going to give you a caveat though. If you're still operating under the belief system that you must do certain things in order to get success, you absolutely have to do all these kind of things, you may have a harder time with that last one until you let that go, because you might not be willing to allow yourself to do the thing that feels best. And if that's the case, hey, I've been there. I totally understand. I'm telling you from personal experience that I did it the hard way, where I was trying to force control and had to discipline myself to do all these other things. And it worked to a degree, but I've done it the higher way, the infinite way, the universal way. And my life works way better when I live that way. I'm way happier. I have way more free time. I've got way more ease in my life. The results flow so much more than having to make it happen and grind. And I just have a lot more fun. So anyways, the last way today that we're going to talk about anyways, there's much more we could do. But the last way we can begin to do this is really starting to notice signs, paying attention to signs that the universe will give you. And this can show up in many ways. You might be seeking a goal, seeking an answer to a question, seeking a resolution in a situation, whatever. And the sign can show up in many ways. It might be a physical sign. I mean, I've often seen when I'm driving and all of a sudden there's a big billboard that's just the perfect phrase for me, for what I was thinking about or working on in my life. Sometimes it's like that, a literal sign. Other times it might be perhaps you're out somewhere in public and all of a sudden you hear a conversation and it's the perfect answer. Or, you happen to meet a stranger that turns out to be the perfect person to help you or for you to help them. I love those synchronicities when those happen. And sometimes it might be something even smaller than that. And I'll give you a just happened, it's 3:55 right now as I'm recording. So it was 22 minutes ago at the time. I'm here with Jen, my assistant, who helps me in everything I do business-wise. And we were looking at what episode to record. And I said, well, I'm going to create this one. So I typed the title in to begin our outline for it. And as soon as I hit enter on the title, 5 Ways Tapping into Universal Guidance, hit enter. This is on OneNote. And guess what the time was? It was 3:33. And I thought, how perfect. I love when numbers match up like that. And then Jen tells me, she goes, that's actually the sign that you're on the right track or something. Is that right? It's kind of like that. You're supported. You're supporting it. That's what it was. And so this could be another great example. I mean, that was a prime example right now of, the idea came to me. It wasn't even on our list of podcasts to do. The idea came to me. What if we do this? Boom, 3:33. So I love that stuff. So there's 5 different ways. Number 1, sit quietly and ask. Number 2, talk to your subconscious or the universe before you're drifting off to sleep. Number 3, free writing. Number 4, the to-do list based on how I feel. And number 5 is paying attention to signs. And I believe that you could pick one of these you work with. That'll help you. You can incorporate a few. You might incorporate all of them. I don't use them all every single day. I do like to pay attention for signs as often as possible. But these are things that can help you. And again, when you tap into this higher intelligence, I'm telling you right now, I probably don't even need to tell you. You probably know this. You are going to get better results in your life. You're going to feel more free. You're going to be happier. You're going to have more fun. You'll be more inspired to do this more often. And what a wonderful way to live. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed today. If you're new to the show, make sure you stick around. Go check out some of the previous episodes for sure, and click subscribe so that we can share more wisdom like this with you. And if you have not left a review for us yet, this is your sign. Wink, wink. I'm just bugging. But do me a favor and go leave a review on Apple. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you soon.